MVP candidates. And maybe you watch the show, maybe you don't. We're going to play a little red light, green light. Make it real fun. Red light, green light. You don't have to answer like that, though. It's okay, Fees. I know we're a little more mature than that. But we'll start out from the top, man. Yeah, right. Here we go. Petty, what was it? Petty feud. Aaron Rodgers, Jeopardy, man. We had so much fun. So let's go ahead and get into it. Red light, green light for Lamar Jackson as MVP.
Green light. Absolutely. 5-1. He's passing better than he's ever passed in his career. He's been showing that he can come from behind multiple times. He's still a very electric runner of the football.
Yep.
The Baltimore Ravens, they're better than what I gave them credit for this year, and it is all because of Lamar Jackson. It is not all because of his legs.
Right.
And he's showing that he can throw the football at a very high clip. He can throw it at an elite clip. So, I mean, with his team sitting at 5-1, I feel like they're the best team in the AFC at the moment. If they can keep their record that high, at this very moment, he's absolutely an MVP candidate.
I have to agree with you. Green light on my part as well. And, you know, you mentioned it perfectly, throwing more than he ever has in his career. And when you really dig into the numbers, so Lamar Jackson is actually averaging 86 more yards per game this season through 6 games. So you got to take that into account, more than he was in his MVP season. And he didn't even throw for 3,200 yards that year, but he did throw for 36 touchdowns, lead the league. So I got to give that to him. But that is good perspective for you. Now we move on to the next gentleman here, Tom Brady. Red light, green light, MVP.
Green light, easily. 5-1, 344 yards per game, first in the league. 17 touchdowns, second in the league.
Yep.
A 107.9 rating, sixth in the league. Only 3 picks. He's pacing to break the single season passing yards record.
Yep.
Right up on the touchdown record. I mean, if they keep their record like this, then it's a no-brainer that he's absolutely will win the MVP. But as a candidate, green light, easy.
Green light, easy for
argument.
me as well. Green light, green light, green light. He's on pace for some special records like Fees just said, but the fact that he's engineering that offense with the most passing yards and touchdowns in the league, the only thing that worries me a little bit is they are very dependent on Tom Brady, so you don't know when he's going to crack, if he's ever going to crack, because Tom Brady is like he's aging like a fine bottle of wine. We've all said it. So definitely a green light there for Tom Brady. Now we get into an interesting one here. I was a little skeptical on this to take my side, but red light, green light on Justin Herbert.
Red light. He's sitting at 4-2. The record is actually not bad at all. I feel like he really needed that win over Baltimore. Otherwise,
100%.
it would have been a green light. But after the way they got obliterated and he just completely disappeared in that game, it's a no for me. He could turn it around, but through 6 weeks, red light.
Justin Herbert through 6 weeks as an NFL MVP candidate. I'm going to say orange light. And I know that's not in there, but I'm literally floating in between. And here's why. You know, we knew who Herbert was coming into the season. No question about that. Or at least I did anyways. And he's only taken a slight step forward, but that's not to discount him because he had a hell of a rookie season up front. And the Chargers are playing great football really outside of Baltimore. We know, we've all seen that there. But, you know, I'm hesitant because he's not getting the hype that a Kyler, that a Dak, that a Tom Brady's getting. So I'm going to go a little hesitant there. I'll stay orange light here.
What is that, a flesh wound?
What's that?
An orange light?
Yeah.
I mean, you watch Squid Game.
Yeah, it's a flesh
You either
wound.
get shot in the head or you move on.
Well,
I mean, what the hell is orange? Is that a shot in the kneecap, a flesh wound?
Clips you. Like you got to go get recover. I don't know, Fees. You're making me a little uncomfortable. I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, stop your love affair. It's red. He's dead.
Red.
Week 6, he dies.
Orange or red.
Through 6 weeks, he dies.
Kyler Murray. Red light, green light. NFL MVP this year.
Oh, absolute green light. His team is 6-0. He's got a 116 QB rating, which is 3rd in the entire NFL right now. He's 6 in yards, 6 in touchdowns. I mean, he's running a very prolific offense. His defense is complimenting him well.
Yes.
But what Kyrie, I almost called him Kyrie. What Kyler is doing out there, I mean, you can't fault him. And what we also know about the MVP award, your record means a lot.
Yep.
So long as they stay undefeated and he's the best player on the best team and he has comparable stats, then he'll win it. I don't care what anyone else does. So at this moment, easy green light.
Green light as well. He's the betting favorite right now. I mean, Fees laid it all out there, but we knew this type of season was coming for Kyler Murray. We saw who the dude was in Oklahoma. He's the #1 overall pick for a reason, and he's lighting it up. He's looked great in every year he's played in the NFL and continues to take that step. You know, great arm, lightning speed, insane accuracy this year, actually leading the NFL in completion percentage right now. And when you talk about Kyler Murray really playing like the best quarterback in the NFL, arguably, 8th in yards, 6th in touchdowns, and like I just said, 1st in completion percentage. So easy green light there for Kyler Murray, who will win. Excuse me. This person coming up here will win comeback player of the year. Dak Prescott, red light, green light for NFL MVP Fees.
Oh, green light. The Dallas Cowboys are sitting at 5-1. He's 3rd in touchdowns, 5th in yards. He's got a 115 QB rating, and he's absolutely proven that he deserved that $75 million that he actually was gifted this season. I know we all thought it was ridiculous and it was crazy, but outside of the team's record, how well he's playing, he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. If you play for America's team and their record is that good and you're putting up numbers, Dak could get the nod over someone that he doesn't actually deserve to get it over just for the mere fact that he plays for Dallas, a la his rookie season where Zeke should have got Offensive Rookie of the Year, but it went to Dak.
Yep. 100% agree with you. It's going to be a green light for me as well. And if he does this, he will be the first and one of the only few to win comeback player and NFL MVP in the same year. Last one to do it was Adrian Peterson. Ran over for 2,000 yards 9 months after the ACL. Still arguably the greatest comeback in sports history. But I got to agree with you. Green light, Dak Prescott, 2nd in completion percentage, 3rd in touchdowns, and he's 5th in yards. And through 6 weeks, he's not making those boneheaded decisions, those silly plays from Dak. He's turning into an any type of play guy. I can show you what I'm made of. Let's play for the money. Dak Prescott is definitely getting the green light here. Josh Allen. A lot of people got some hype about him, and I'm not understanding it really. Josh Allen, red light, green light.
Josh Allen, red light. They're 4-2. I mean, the Buffalo Bills were lighting it up, leading the league in scoring. They have been looking good through 6 weeks, but the 2 games that they lost, they were bad losses.
Yep.
I mean, especially the Pittsburgh loss. That was just disgusting. The Tennessee Titans, they're not a very good football team, and they've been going for it on 4th a lot. I don't know if that's Josh Allen's doing or if that's his offensive coordinator's doing. But what I can say is that the quarterbacks that we've mentioned ahead of him, which all 4 of the previous guys that we've mentioned are quarterbacks, they're ahead of him. So, I mean, just in that mere fact that you've got other quarterbacks ahead of you, red light, he's not in the MVP conversation right now.
I got to agree with you. Right now, he's a red light because a lot of people talk about, you know, Josh Allen's yards, his touchdowns, his touchdown to interception ratio, but he's beating up on bad teams. The Bills don't have a signature win this season yet. Josh Allen does not have that here I am, Buffalo Bills are in the AFC win yet this season. And he, you know, he's been beating up on bad teams and he's not playing super consistent. I said it earlier, Lamar Jackson right now is a more consistent and arguably better quarterback than Josh Allen. Going to be a red light for me as well. Now let's move on to the man of the hour. Andre, hope you're still here, man. I saw you in the comments just now. Matthew Stafford, you can hold your green light. We know it's coming from you, Andre. Fees, I'll get your answer, but red light, green light for Matt Stafford.
Red light all day. Matthew Stafford is getting a red light. His team is 5-1, and it's not largely in part for him. He does have very good stats, but he's progressively getting worse week to week. Put up big numbers and a huge QB rating in week 1. It kind of tailed off a little in week 2. It got kind of bad in week 3. And then in week 4, you got obliterated by Arizona, and your numbers look terrible.
Yep.
You were very pedestrian in week 5, and then you beat up on the Giants. We're not giving you credit for beating up on the Giants.
Yep.
Matthew Stafford is showing that he's the same quarterback that he was in Detroit. He just has a better team around him. He still overthrows balls at an alarming rate at big moments when they actually need him. And I guarantee you, when you get to postseason, that is going to be detrimental to the Rams.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere, and it's going to be Matt Stafford's fault. And you'll be like, damn, Jared Goff wasn't as bad as we thought.
And Fees and Adam were right, and I should keep watching. Oh, sorry, I'm saying that out loud. My fault. Definitely red light for Fees there. It's going to be a red light for Matt Stafford for me, too. And here's a simple thing. Rams, y'all are all up in the comment section on YouTube. Appreciate the views and the engagement. I talked about your expectations versus reality. It was hard for me to include you in the playoffs this year, but with all the talent around Matt Stafford, you got to make it. But I think when you're talking about someone that could potentially be responsible at the end of the year for a play or decision in the heat of the moment, to where it potentially puts you out of where you want to be, I got to look at Matthew Stafford. Red light for me as well. Now, a gentleman who should be getting votes, but it's very hard to do this at his position. Derrick Henry for MVP. Red light, green light fees.
Right now, green light. I mean, he's at 783 yards, 10 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. He's pacing for over 2,200 yards, which would easily break the all-time season rushing record. But I mean, he's looking at eight in the box every Sunday. The only knock that you have on Derrick Henry's MVP hopes is the fact that you've got Brady looking at passing the all-time passing yard and touchdown yard record.
Right.
And then another gentleman that we're going to talk about shortly passing another record that's probably even more difficult to break. So, I mean, as much as he's getting the green light, I don't think he'll win it, but absolutely green light. He's a candidate.
Yeah, gotta agree with you as well. Green light. He's on pace to break some special records. Also, we're going to be talking about that here soon. And he has not been figured out. Breaking news, guys. Derrick Henry is still here to stay. This man is seeing 7-8 in the box, like Fees just said, and he's still averaging 4.8 yards a carry and 125 yards a game. He's going down already as one of the greatest running backs of all time early in his career, and he's continuing to build on it here. Love what I'm seeing from the King, and probably the dopest hair in the league, by the way. Let's go ahead and get into the last one here. Trayvon Diggs, Defensive Player of the Year, no doubt, but could he win MVP? Fees, red light, green light?
Oh, I say green light. I mean, he's got 7 interceptions right now, 2 touchdowns, 11 passes defended, leads the league in all 3 categories, which is
a ridiculous
insane. Clip. He's had at least 1 interception in every single game this season.
Yep.
And just to put it in perspective, 10 interceptions led the league last year, 6 in 2019, 7 in 18, 8 in 17, and 7 in 16.
It's hard to get to just 7 or 8 picks.
Like, he would have tied or led in 3 of the last 5 seasons.
It's a great pull there.
Through 6 games.
Yeah.
He hasn't played a whole season.
That's a hell of a pull.
But we're saying he would have won the whole interception lead through 6 games.
Exactly.
The record is 14.
Dude's a receiver in a cornerback's body right now.
He's killing, so he's absolutely an MVP candidate, and he would be the one guy, because of how difficult the record is that he's pushing for to break.
Yep.
He could win it for the first time a defensive player has won in quite some time over Derrick Henry and over even Tom Brady.
I hate to be a shocker here, but I got to say red light. And because of a lot of reasons you said there at the end, you know, I understand he's averaging over a pick a game, which is absolutely crazy. He's on pace to basically obliterate the record. And we're going to get into that soon here with one of the segments. But when you talk about, you know, a defensive player winning it, the last guy to do that was Lawrence Taylor. And he's arguably the greatest lineman of all time, you know, defensive lineman. Like there's no question, or excuse me, linebacker. There's no question about that. And that was back in the 80s. Before that, the last guy went, I think, was 12 years before, back in the mid 70s. It is extremely hard for a defensive player to even get a vote. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I know how the NFL trickles. I got to say red light here on Trayvon Diggs.